Good morning, everybody. It's Quinn, and I'm super excited to be talking to you today about a family rhythm and setting up a family rhythm. And joining me today is a few of my kiddos. Here's Julesy and Lena and Tate, and they are just getting going for the day, so we haven't gotten hairbrushed. But I wanted to show you real quick. I'm just going to flip the camera around, and you can see this is our baby. There we go. This is our kind of command center, okay? And so everybody has two main chore areas. So I'll talk a little bit more about exactly how to work with this, but I'll just show you ours first so that then, oh, no waving in front of the camera, guys. So that then you guys can see a little bit how that rhythm works, okay? So the big thing that we've seen is setting up routines. Okay, so you can see we've got 3 routines right here. So we've got the morning 6, the bedtime 5, and the meal 4. So morning 6 is as soon as you wake up, then you're making your bed, getting dressed, brushing your hair and teeth, getting your room tidy, and then you have a morning chore. Now each of our kiddos has a morning chore, and that's what's in pink. And so it's just, that is Julesy's, to clean the white bathroom, huh, Jules? Yeah, and how do you clean that white bathroom, Jules?
I clean it, I just clean one, and then other day I clean another.
That's right, and it works so good. So everybody's got their morning chore, and then it works super well. And then they all have a meal chore. So you can see the meal 4 is that every time with a meal.
Clean the table.
Yes.
Tate just make the food today.
Yep, Tate's on meal prep, huh? Julesy likes to set the table, so that kind of stays her job. But then that's made it so everybody is cleaning up after themselves at mealtime, and then they're also doing a meal chore. That one is clear the table and wipe it clean. So if you guys want, I can post some photos of this just to give you some ideas, and then there's our meals. That one's sweeping, and then Claire's gonna wash pots and pans, and then Tate's on meal prep. So when they're on meal prep, they actually get to choose the meals. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip it around and step outside. We'll leave kiddos in here, just so I can tell you a little bit more about working with the rhythm. So this was the biggest aha for me that I learned from a Waldorf educator. I mentioned this just a little bit the other day, that kids and adults too, that we have this inhale and exhale kind of a process where we, and the kids are doing it all throughout the day. So what I've noticed is if you start the kids right away with, okay, it's time to get up, do your morning 6, and they get going, then it makes it so they actually have a way better day, because right away you're making them take an exhale. They've just been resting all night. And if our kids go right into another exhale, which would maybe be like video games or watching TV or something like that, inevitably they're going to have a lot harder time playing on their own that day and getting along. Yeah, popsicles are good too. So, and so when you start them just right away with, okay, let's get up and let's take an exhale, which means let's exhale our energy by doing a chore, by getting into action, by doing something productive, then they're gonna have their inhale, which is their maybe quieter time or quieter play or getting really engaged into something at the same time that you want it to be. And you can really get it, it's kind of like when we have babies, right? And you can get them in this sleep schedule. But our kids, they have a similar kind of rhythm. And so really tapping into like, okay, we start the day with an exhale so that then about 10 o'clock or so, they're ready for an inhale, which looks like time to play, time to get creative, time to color, time to draw, which is a great moment to then have an hour or two where you can really get some things done. And so I found if I try to work during my kids' exhale time, when they're trying to get their stuff done in the morning, their morning chores, it really doesn't work very well for us, because they, like if I'm working on the computer, I'm working on the phone, it looks like an exhale to me, right? Or it looks like an inhale. Like it looks like I'm being really still, and they kind of gravitate to whatever our energy is doing. So I usually try to be up and like active with them and doing my morning chores at the same time, and then we're all ready for this quieter time right after that, when I can get some things done for a few hours. They'll be playing and totally happy. So my biggest secret right now, guys, for getting my kids to play really good together is chores, which is just this principle of this inhale and the exhale, right? But those chores, if they are doing a big project or something, like, okay, you've got to clean your room today. Have you ever noticed how kids inevitably, you say, okay, time to go clean your room, get going, that they'll get super distracted, right? And they'll be like all of a sudden playing with what they found, and they'll be doing whatever, right? But this is because it kind of gets them in that gear where they're out of like needing you to do everything for them and needing you to figure out their time and manage it, and it gets them in this other zone. And so I actually like to start the afternoons with, okay, here's your project, right? If we haven't had a big work morning, then we say, okay, here's an afternoon project that we're going to work on, right? And and then inevitably I usually let them take as much time as they want with that, because then it will always turn into play. And when my kids start with work and I'm working with them, I'm a part of it, of that working part, it always then goes into play, and they're so getting along, and that's always the perfect moment for me to then shift gears, hop on the computer, hop on my phone, start answering emails and texts and getting to work, right? But then as soon as their energy shifts, right, which is like for my kids, as we've been playing with this, that happens usually around 4 o'clock or so. So that gives me a good couple hours in the afternoon where I can get stuff done. And I had an hour or two in the morning, and we just have these kind of touch-in points throughout the day. And so if you're looking for a little bit of support with just getting more structure in your home and getting more just peaceful kids, an author that you really might enjoy is Kim John Payne. He is amazing. He's the author of Simplicity Parenting. He also wrote the book, I want to call it Soul of Discipline. There we go. That's the name of it. Soul of Discipline. And he talks about a concept that when our kids are acting out, it's actually like the submarines that kind of ping when they're trying to find something, like that sonar pinging, right? We've seen that in movies, right? Where it's like ping, ping, and it's seeing what it's bumping up on, what it's bumping up against. And so he says whenever your kids are misbehaving or acting out, it's because they're pinging, trying to find you. Right, they're feeling lost, they're feeling disoriented, they've got big feelings coming up, and so they're trying to find you in the mix to help them find home again, find center again. And so recognizing this means that then if they do start acting out, that you take that moment to say, oh, you just needed to connect with me, and we sit down and we read a book together for a minute, or we we snuggle for a minute or something. And then once they get that, oh, there you are, then they go back and they're happy and they're good throughout the day. I think so many of us have been raised with the belief that parenting is really hard, and that taking care of our kids, and especially if you're trying to balance a business, that is just really hard. And while I do think that it requires discipline, I don't believe that it's hard anymore. And I really did used to. I used to believe that it was so hard and I was so exhausted at the end of the days and I just couldn't handle it, right? But now as I've learned to work with these rhythms, I see, oh, if I give my kids what they need, which is they need those touch points with me in the day, they need to be able to find me, and they need the structure that I honor their rhythm of, okay, it's time to inhale, or there we go. Sorry, the internet was not on our side for a minute. So, but as we do that, then it makes it so they really do behave most of the time, and they get along with each other, and they get lost in their own creativity. They don't need us to entertain them all day long. They don't need us to be with them every second of the day, but they do need to know where their home base is so that they can tap in to find you again and then go out, and then find you again and then go out, and find themselves again. So that's kind of what that inhale does. So I'm racing, just sharing all of these ideas. I would love to hear your questions and any comments. Be sure to type them in so that we can have this conversation going, because I think that even as I'm talking about it, it can sound a little bit easier than maybe it feels in application. But what I've found is that when you have, like I was showing in the beginning of the video, if you have some structured routines, so any of those kind of chores or things that you need support on, that those are broken into a routine, and then you have these touch points throughout the day. So ours would be breakfast, lunch, dinner, bedtime. Those are our big touch points. And then as they need me throughout the day, there might be additional touch points, right? And there usually are. But they're usually small and not as dramatic and not as built up if I've really been present in each of those touch points. So we've really tried to make mealtime really special and a time to really connect and for them to find home base again with us, so that then after meal times they're ready to play, they're ready to do their own thing, and we can get stuff done too. So I hope that this has been helpful. I'd love to hear any insights or questions. Go ahead and type them in the chat, and I'll hang on for just a minute or so. Let me think if there's anything else to support with that that I love. Yeah, I think most of us that are trying to do business and family, lots of times we're doing way too much, usually because our kids feel out of control and like we just have to do everything. And so I hope that you're getting a sense that you really don't have to live that way. Like if you can build in these routines, and if you want me to post pictures, just type that in the chat. I can post pictures of our kind of command center so you can get an idea. Because what I noticed is that well, especially I have 5 kids, right? So that I can kind of spread them throughout the house and we get a lot done. But even if you don't have 5 kids, if you have 1 or 2, or even if they're little, they can do so much more than we typically allow them to do. And we have to remember that parenting isn't about us just showing up and serving our kids. This is about a mentorship, right? They're an apprentice on how to become an adult. And especially for those of us that are doing passionate businesses that we really care about making a difference, we're showing them how to do that balance, how to juggle it. And so it's really important for them to be participating in the work of the house, and that doesn't have to be hard. So any of those chores that I showed you on the fridge, none of those should take more than 5 to 15 minutes. And really that's enough. And so we just do that little bit every day, and that makes it so our house just stays nice and clean most of the time, and then everybody's just picking up after themselves throughout the day. But it's so much simpler. Now I'll be honest, it's summer here, right? And so we're a little bit off of our schedule, a little bit off our game, but we have that home base and that structure of, hey, this is how our days run. This is everybody's responsibilities, that if we do slip off, we hop back in so much easier, and it makes it so my kids feel safe to thrive. I feel safe that I can get the things done that I need to do, and I can connect with them, and we can have a close family relationship, and it just solves everything. So too often, excuse me, if you're having resistance in your family, a lot of time it's because you're resisting their natural rhythm. So it's like we're trying to make them be still when they really need to use their energy, right? And we're trying to make them, or use their energy when they're already just ready to be still. And so you'll notice all throughout the day, take that as a challenge today. Watch your kids as they need an inhale and a touch back in with you, and they need an exhale, and they need to go do their own thing and use their body and be outside or do whatever it might be, get creative. And then they need that inhale again of getting close. So it's kind of this contraction and expansion all day long, contraction, expansion, as they are, working with their natural rhythm. Makes a huge difference. So let's keep this conversation going. I'd love to hear your insights. I can continue sharing some other ideas of how to support your family to have that kind of a rhythm. And it's just going to change your world. It's going to rock it if you're not already doing something like this, but to just start noticing instead of just punishing or acting out, right? Now, one of the things that I will say is that me as the mom, I have to stay in alignment with the rhythm as well. So that means I can't be working all the time. And I know for those of you that have probably tried that, it gets really frustrating, right? Our kids come, they interrupt, they're fighting in the other room, and we're like, I just want to get things done. Why aren't you letting me get anything done? Right? It makes us crazy. And so we have to learn how to keep our own work within boundaries as well, so that we can flow in between all of that as well. And so that then when they start acting out, we don't take it personally, and we don't assign dark motives, as my husband likes to say, that they're trying to undermine us, or they're just bugging us, right? But instead we're like, oh, they need something, they're pinging me. Oh, so let me help them find me again. I'm going to put my phone down, I'm going to come over, I'm going to hold them, I'm going to talk to them, we're going to read for a minute, I'm going to give them a big hug, you know, whatever it might be, whatever you feel like your child needs. And then recognizing that that doesn't mean your workday is over, right? But you just needed to disconnect from it for a bit, reconnect with family, and then you could go back into your workflow. It works really, really well. So, yeah, if we don't stay in line with our own rhythm and we keep trying to, well, I'll keep my kids on this rhythm, but I won't honor my own natural rhythm, this is what leads to burnout, right? And we don't want that. So you're already, that's when you've been working so hard and you're exhausting yourself and you're just trying to do everything all the time and never turn off. But you need that exhale as well. If you've been sitting at your computer for a while, if you've been, you know, answering a bunch of emails or doing a bunch of work, then recognize, oh, if you're feeling irritable or cranky, or you start looking, maybe you're doing work on Facebook and everybody's starting to trigger you and you're feeling all these icky feelings all of a sudden, recognize, oh, these feelings are helping me see that I need to shift. My rhythm is off. So I probably need to go step outside. I need to go, you know, just walk outside and put my feet in the grass even, can be enough to then recharge you to go back in and have the energy and the emotional capacity to handle your work and your family. So yeah, rhythm is huge. Like I said, Kim John Payne, powerhouse in teaching this and and really helping you to lean into your rhythm. So I hope that supports you. I'm excited to have this conversation continue. And please, please bring your questions and let's find our flow and our rhythm in our families and our homes so that we can just have so much goodness in our homes and in our families and strong relationships, and then just go kick ass in our businesses as well. We can do both, but the only way to do both is to live in the rhythm, in the flow. So cheering you on in that and just loving all of you so much, so grateful for you and excited for you to apply this. And we'll you know, keep your insights or any questions in this group. We're super excited to support you and just sending you lots of love. You guys are amazing. Just love you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.